enjoy the show, play on my channel.
You got listed on your Facebook, your IMDb. There's only one thing on mine, which is great. Nice and short. But I'm looking at this. Starting at the bottom, a bunch of uncredited stuff. That's how you get your name out there and get in there. But the earliest thing I saw was one of the best titles for anything I think I've ever heard of ever. And that's back in 2014, The Half-Life Horror from Hell, or Irradiated Satan Rocks the World. You were a stuntman.
I was also one of the principal roles. I was Dr. Vance.
Okay. There it is. Yeah, Dr. Vance Manley. But I mean, holy crap! I didn't go back.
I was
far
but a
enough,
boy.
Apparently. So obviously, I know you from your. Oh my God! You were in the last Airbender. Jesus.
Yeah.
You think you know somebody. You think you know someone after you've been on his podcast twice. But I met you through wrestling. And that's where I know you from. I think the first time we met in person was the last AAW show? Or was it, did you go down to Super Crazy?
Was one in March.
Yes.
The one in March was the first one that I was at. That was the first one that first time I met you. Mm-hmm. First time I was at AAW March. I know it was March because I still have the ticket stub that I was given as March Mayhem.
Okay. It was back then, but you bring a certain kind of electricity into the ring because you're not afraid to put on a show, but also my favorite thing was the rock, paper, scissors from that match. You're like, whoa. Rock, paper, scissors. Like, what?
That was totally his idea. I just went with it. Yeah,
it was great. But even when you're in the ring, you have that same kind of level of professionalism that I've seen so many indie wrestlers really nail because you have a passion for it. And now, just finding out you have a passion as well for acting. I mean, the first one I saw that kind of took me back is you were in Gotham as a F-wing inmate. And then I go up.
Yes.
And then there's one of my favorite shows, The Blacklist, a pool player. Like, dude, come on now. You were Bruce in Bruce, so it's a good title. Mayor of Easttown. I mean, you've been in so much. Some of the roles, I mean, cult member. I know you as a person, but just from looking at you, I'd peg you as a cult member. Yeah, you're perfect for that role.
Cult leader is what I say. I'm not going to be some cult member, rinky-dink jobber member.
Yeah.
It's got to mean something, okay? I have my own cult. Just like the Deuce, you were the porn distributor.
Yeah.
Once again.
That was less of a cult thing.
But once again, still kind of makes sense.
I got in the habit, not in the habit, but like the casting companies were in the habit of booking me in anything that was 70 because they wanted long-haired guys. So I wound up for a run. I did Deuce, Final. I did The Post, the Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep movie. Just like anything that they could go, oh, well, we got this long-haired guy. Let's make him 70s. So I was
box seat audience member for Creed.
Yeah,
just to name out a couple.
That wasn't the 70s.
No, I mean, you wouldn't be around then. It says you weren't born then on your IMDb. So there's that. But the first time I saw you was from your podcast, Evolving with Cory Kastle. And I saw you because you interviewed my business partner here from Purge Hangers and Wall Hangers, Christopher Bristow, a couple times.
Christo.
But
One of my faves. He's a great dude. I can't say one unkind thing about Christo.
That's true.
Shit, man.
That's true. He is practically a saint, but he still needs to perform one other miracle to get that by the church.
To get canonized, you know.
You know, it's not one and done. You know, you got to have a couple. Not to put him on the level of like Mother Teresa or any of that, you know, other saints, but, you know, I mean, he's practically there already. Practically. But one of the things I really love about even just listening to your podcast or doing your podcast is your personality, because you are so positive. And even I mentioned it the last time we were on, I still actively try to not, you know, put myself down. Just from that one little comment I thought was accurately worded. I'm a nerdy guy from Delco trying to do good. He's like, don't talk yourself down like that. I'm like, damn, okay. How often do I do that?
I'm gonna see if this makes you feel any better. The guest that I had on yesterday was this guy Dan Law.
Yes.
He was like he was trying to tell me this story about it was like, oh, I say to people like, you hate me. Don't worry, I already hate me 3 times more than you hate. I was like, I don't make me cringe. That made me cringe. And can you replace that? Can you accept the challenge of replacing those words with I self-love outweighs your dislike for me?
Yeah.
Like, that felt like it made more sense. And he's like, yeah, you killed my gimmick. And I was like, no, I didn't kill it, man. I don't want you to down yourself, because you've got value. And, you know, like words are just words sometimes until they aren't. Words and actions have such a fine line. So if you speak of yourself in a harmful way, then you're going to start treating yourself in a harmful way. And then you're going to like live in a self-sabotage cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get yourself into a rut when you start, because once you put yourself down, I used to tell my technicians and my valets when I was working in the car dealerships, I say, look, the first time you say fuck it, it makes the second time even easier. And it's the same thing when you're trying to put yourself down, because, you know, no, I'm no good at that. I'm no good at that. And through my own recent evolving type back there, I've learned to bet on myself and my creativity more. A lot like, hang on. Ready. Hang on. It's okay. I'm a brilliant editor. A lot like
That background blur is
Picture Perfect Small Towns,
Bill.
New York and Media, PA.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't have done that. Even from the first Matt you met in that first podcast, he wouldn't have done that. He wouldn't be going to a winery this weekend, you know, if anybody wants to come and see me and buy my book. You know, it's right over there. But I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have taken these steps that I
Too
have.
many people are complaining at wineries. They don't.
There you go. He's just asking if we want cheese with that. That's all.
You too. I know it. I knew it would come out soon. The corny jokes are some of my favorite.
Wouldn't take long.
I met you, Frank. One of the shows Chris took you to in Delaware.
Is that the one way out, you know, at the borderline of Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it was like the
firehouse
commentary table.
Was it a firehouse?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now you're looking a lot more familiar. Yeah, we spoke for a little while too. Yes.
We did. Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
And it's that kind of thing. The interconnectivity. That's what actually makes your podcast go well with your wrestling and everything else you're doing. Because while you're in that moment, hey, I have a really great podcast. They see your podcast. They see it's not like anybody else's show. You know, it's something that's original that you put your heart into. And you are honestly listening, and active listening, I should put, actively listening to the person you have on your show, and you're trying to help them, and that's what you're doing when you're picking those negative thoughts out of these people's heads is you're like, hey, we're just going to take that out of there. You don't need that. It's over there now. That's something that a lot of people don't do because it's actively building people up.
Mm-hmm.
I seek more the connection, and maybe if I just have a conversation, I can't promise you, I can't advertise that this is going to happen. This is going to change your career from being on my show. You're going to get a ton more interactions and stuff. But what you'll have is something that maybe there's some lessons that you can take away from it. Maybe that'll help one person.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll help you maybe think about how to reword your perspective on things later on, or maybe it'll help teach somebody something they didn't already know. Like you didn't know that I did all that stuff until you looked it up.
Exactly.
So the currency of effort and attention is ridiculously valuable to me.
That's good. That's really good. Because it's very much that, having a podcast platform has never been lost on me that 90% of the people who will watch podcasts would never attempt something. Oh, I could never do that. Oh, I could never do that. I hate being on camera. Guess what? I hate the sound of my own voice. I got to edit this. I got to edit the show I did like 2 days or yesterday. Yesterday with Frank. It's something that you will get used to. Setting up a barrier like that is just so you can stay in your comfort zone. That's how your mind is rationalizing it, and you don't see what other people do in the potential that they have. Other people like me, you, Frank, when we're podcasting, we're talking to people, you see that raw potential. We were talking to Vaughn Coleman, an amazing writer, and he said, oh, I can't draw. I tried. I got this, and it's too late for me. And Frank's like, dude, get out of here. George R.R. Martin didn't start writing Game of Thrones until he was in his 40s. Stan Lee didn't create the Fantastic Four until he was in his 40s. There's time.
The thing is with this is like for me, when I was a kid, all I ever said that I wanted to be when I grew up, as I said, I wanted to be a comedian, and I said I wanted to be a wrestler. I didn't know being a podcaster was an option. That didn't exist.
Right.
So like maybe what you're failing to do is being patient for whatever you want to find you, because you don't know that it exists yet to pursue it.
Yeah. 100%. Because of even acting, that's one thing that a lot of people will tell you, like, oh, I'd love to be an actor. They don't go to the casting calls. They're not looking up on.
Yeah, the ugly part. They see the money. They see the red, the walkway, and all this kind of stuff. The photos and the paparazzi. They see that part, not the hard work, not the training, not the cattle calls, and finding a place you can afford, and still running around as a waiter and going to cattle calls, every other day. They don't see that part. That's the hard work.
I think that a lot of people think that like just knowing people means you can get something. Like those people, like I've had people come up to me and talk to me about like, oh, can you get me into the wrestling business? And I'm like, hey, I've done this 23 years of work. What have you done? Who are you? What value do you bring? There's a whole bunch of other work you've got to do. Go pursue it elsewhere. I mean, it's not just because you know me doesn't mean you have the ability to stuff of my work. You don't have to ride on my coattails. Woo!
Yeah, you gotta pay your dues if you want to sing the blues. Period. I mean, that's it. Put your dues in. That's all.
And it's just the hard work aspect of that, I think, keeps a lot of people from even tiptoeing into that creative venture. Because even myself, when I was doing this book, Jill was telling me, like, oh my God, these pictures are fantastic. I'm like, yeah, I get you like it. And then, like my friend, director, Jetta Anthony, just posting my book that he bought off Amazon. You can buy it now too. Link in the description below. He looked through the book. He didn't have to. And I met him through just Tales of the Hunted, 2 amazing movies, Indie award-winning director and writer. So seeing someone like that, like, okay, I can't really say I don't have any skills in this because enough people are saying, man, these are awesome. I want to buy them off you. That, all right, yeah, I do have this talent. So I was very reluctant, but now I embrace it. Posting pictures all over social media and all that. And, you know, the first of like 4 books I have in my head. So it's one of those things that I think a podcast like this. Now, I'm not telling people to go out and be a wrestler or an actor or even, you know, a videographer and photographer. I'm telling them to find their passion. That's what I like to tell people because a lot of my friends, it's maybe their passion is their family. That's the thing they always wanted. They got their family and they are happy. That is what they drive and live for. And that's fine. But just sitting there being an angry troll online is, I'm guessing, not 90% of the people out there's dream of just spewing toxic hate.
I don't know about that.
I would like to think it, Frank. I'm an idealist.
I'm a realist.
Man,
I'm a realist.
kids wanted to grow up to be policemen, firemen. They wanted to be teachers and school teachers and principals and lawyers and doctors. Now they don't have that dream. They want to just be an influencer now.
Right.
Have that be what carries them through their rest of their lives.
Hey guys. Yeah, you could be one of those.
That's
hey
the
guys.
ideal goal.
Yeah. If that's your thing. If that's
They
what you want to
they
put
see
out
it
there.
quickly. They see it too quickly. They see it influence, you know, right, literally in front of them, and it's like kids wanting to be a rapper. You know, they see the money, they see the fame. That's what they want. But you know, since the time that I was around in New York City when it first started, barely a decade after when it started in the late '80s. That's all they wanted to do. They'd given up everything else just to be a rapper. And the percentage is so small to succeed and then have long-term success.
It's like
is
being in the NFL.
astronomical.
Everyone wants to be in the NFL.
And those 80s rappers were corny as hell.
Yeah.
Well,
Hip.
nonetheless, all they saw was the money and the simplicity of it. They did not see the business end of it, and that's. And look, even if they got that far, they got pretty far, but, long-term longevity, man, just like, basketball stars, sports stars, what the percentage from high school through college, then to pro, semi-pro, and then actual pro, man, it whittles it down to a very, very small few. So,
that actually
years
reminds
ago,
me.
yeah, people want it. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be this. I want to do that. Nowadays, it's true. Is they do not look for anything further than instantaneous
Desire, right?
Yes.
Desire to find an itch for every scratch, a scratch for every itch.
Yeah.
Just kind of like get to the next, scroll to the next page.
Yeah.
Now that's one thing I did want to point out, especially when you mentioned rap and stuff like that. Basketball. Basketball's another thing. Oh, I'm just gonna play basketball. I'm gonna get the deals and all that. To truly be amazing is something that will show through. Even on my Facebook feed, my good friend Jermaine Palmer, his daughter Jordan went over and was part of the U.S. female women's basketball team that just won the gold medal. So congrats to you, Jordan. So proud of you for following your passion and for actually getting that gold medal. That's a big, big bucket of win. That's the kind of passion that you have to have. Nobody gave her that medal. Nobody gave her that spot. She had to work her butt off for it. She had to earn it. So that's that kind of thing. It's the same thing with you in wrestling. You're in the ring. You're getting bumps. You're taking the falls. You're entertaining the fans and being there for the fans after the show, during the intermissions. Hey, guys, how are you? That's big.
I think it's a Jim Carrey quote, and I'm paraphrasing it. I'm not saying exactly what it is. I don't want. all the way sure what it is, but I think he said something around the lines of, I wish everybody could get fame and fortune so they'd know it's not the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because whatever's broken inside of you, there was this comedy sketch on SNL, like a travel agency in Italy.
Yeah.
And he was like, it was like Adam Sandler. And he was like, if you're unhappy where you are now and you come here, you'll still be that same unhappy person. He's advertising these Italy tours. Me and my brother always quote that.
That's a good one. But the other,
If you're currently unhappy, this place isn't going to make you happy. It's up to you to make yourself happy before you come here.
Right.
my favorite is from Howard Stark in Endgame. Not one amount. I'm gonna butcher it as well, but not $1 bought a minute of time back. Showing you have to appreciate your time. Everybody can make money. You can go make it right now. If you're good enough, it'll pass, but probably won't. You need like templates and the special paper and stuff, so actually printing money yourself won't work. But get out there and hustle, and you can have your passion on the side. You can have your project that you evolve and put the love and nurture in there to figure out your craft. But that's the main thing that
True, absolutely true.
I think a lot of successful people have that mentality of, all right, it's time to put in the work. 10,000 hours seems like a lot. But once you get that 10,000th hour under your belt, it makes a lot of sense. And it seems so short.
That's
You know,
true.
it was weird, man. I was having this thought. I was on an earlier podcast break between
You're cutting out there a little bit.
thinking. I was sitting thinking, and I was thinking about how much I wanted to be a wrestler when I was a kid, and how much each show, and like I would always picture myself at shows, having gear, like being a part of the wrestling industry, being a part of like the way things would go. Now I've done it so many times. I've been in so many shows and I've done so many events in wrestling that like I've forgotten more about the sport, more about the business, more experiences I've completely forgotten about than most people will ever.
Yeah. And that comes with the time.
And that's an accomplishment.
It is.
Absolutely.
I'm patting myself on the back for forgetting stuff.
As we all should.
Old unforgettable boy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, your jokes. But that's one of the big things, man. Now, I do like to tell or have posed this question, I'll say, to actors and even, writers and comic book artists. Marvel and DC. They call you up. They say, Cory, you're perfect for this role. Which company and what role?
Ooh.
I wasn't asking you. Hero of Time, like Diablo.
I think I just have to stay open about it. I don't think that that there's anyone that like it's me and I go, yeah, that's absolutely what I've got. As far as what role, but like I love to put myself into a character and really understand, like be versatile as hell. Like as far as like any other thing that I've done, and I meant to say earlier, but I completely forgot this point. I like everything I do to serve every other thing I do. You know what I'm saying? So like somebody goes, hey, this guy's got a pretty great podcast. Let's listen to the podcast. On the podcast, we find out he's a pro wrestler. Oh, wow, where's his events? Let's go check out his events. Going back to listen to another thing of his podcast, and he finds out he does comedy. Oh, we're going to go out and see one of his comedy events. Just about all of them serving every other thing that I'm doing.
Yeah. It's like
I think that
diversifying your
everybody else
portfolio.
should strive for something.
Well, yeah, but it is diversifying your portfolio to the aspect of, yes, the podcast is also serving as and that's why so many comedians have podcasts. So they can say, hey, I'm going to be in Sheboygan on March 9th.
Right. Why relate? Why wait on print and word of mouth and somebody else's podcast that you might have missed or goes by so fast. Do it yourself. I mean, like, you got an hour, sit there and promote yourself for a solid hour, but get yourself out there. If anything.
So you did mention comedy, and I do have to. We have to talk about that. We can't leave that elephant in the room. We've talked about everything else as well. So, with comedy, what made you first get on stage?
Well, it was my first dream. I'm as big of a fan of stand-up comedy as I am pro wrestling. Those are like very parallel things from, the thing that made me get on stage for the first time was probably, I'm telling this story and it's gonna come off as a joke, but like a little bit serious. So when I was a kid, you said earlier, I was born on my mom's birthday, 24th birthday. The night of her birthday, and she was about to give birth to me. She saw the Tonight Show, Johnny Carson, but it was guest hosted by Joan Rivers. She saw for the first time on Joan Rivers, she had Boy George on. Mom had never seen Boy George. Mom became obsessed with Boy George. She loved Boy George. And she would listen to his albums all the time. She was such a fan of Boy George. And I thought, the song Karma Chameleon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I thought he was saying, become a comedian. And that's what made me want to go do stand-up comedy. I thought if I did, because my mom was such a big fan of Boy George, he wanted me to become a comedian.
Yeah.
That would make my mom a big fan of me even more.
That's a different roundabout. Yeah, that's interesting.
It's a way. It's definitely a way to get you on stage.
Yeah.
Until you find out that was not what he said at all.
Yeah, I know.
I didn't understand the rest of the words of that song.
Nobody did really until you came out with lyrics. Yeah.
Yeah. What was it, back in the early 2000s?
They come and go.
Early ages of the internet, you had to go on to, it was like lyrics.com, or you had to go to like a website. What did they say?
AZ Lyrics.
What was the website back in the 80s something, when Karma Chameleon came out? You had to either find it on some, record label and,
Inside the booklet, Steve.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all there was.
Hang on. What did he say? It wasn't a comedian at all. Look at this. You looked it up? Yeah. You've been saying the wrong thing for years. I had to know.
Yeah.
It wasn't right at all. Look at this. It's right in the sheet.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things that I really miscommunicated and misunderstood when I was a kid. I thought, when somebody's like, oh, they're so poor, they can't even make ends. I thought ends meet was like a dish that only rich people would eat. Like, oh, you call yourself a fancy restaurant? You guys don't even have ends meet on the menu.
Okay. I can see that. Like, you don't even have ends meet? Like, what is this kid talking about?
It's great to be young, boy, I tell you. It is.
You got to have those moments where you're like, oh, I was completely wrong. I was completely wrong. And music lyrics are very easy to
those are the toughest ones that because of lack of like I said, the internet, you'd have to buy like a special out, or what you had to do, you had to get sheet music. There were some record stores where I lived in New York City that actually had sheet music for the guitar, bass, and also the lyrics.
Yes,
but separate thing, or you could buy it for the whole song, but that's the only way to find out exactly what that artist said.
one of my favorite ones I've ever heard was an old coworker of mine, and Aerosmith was playing, and she goes, "Do it like a lady," and I was like, that is not what he's saying at all. Dude looks like a lady. Don't you remember Miss Doubtfire, the song they put it out for? Do it like a lady. Like,
I always thought it was saying "Do the funky lady." That's what I always thought the lyrics were when I was.
Yeah.
Dude looks like a lady. Dude, you know, I can see how they're all close. Once again, we all need lyric sheets.
Yeah. Thank God for Prince.
Well, I mean, now
I got a couple good ones. Couple good ones. My friend Justin, when we were kids, he thought living on a prayer was living on bread. So if you listen to the song "Living on a Prayer" by Bon Jovi, and replace "Living on a Prayer" with "Living on Bread," it makes too much sense. It sounds too much like they're actually saying "living on bread," which, I mean, like, that could make sense to you, right? Like,
he's screaming.
People, you know,
we're
people would
halfway
eat
there.
bread.
Living on bread.
Oh, living on bread.
Yeah.
Exactly. Living on bread. So, if you get a chance, look that song up and sing along with it and say bread instead of
Take my hand and we'll make it, I swear. Whoa, living on bread. Now that checks out. That's a good one. That's one you want to remember. Like, living on bread.
All right, what's the oldest one that you did not know what the artist said? Oldest one.
My best friend thought, and we did a sketch about it. Song "Don't You Want Me, Baby"? He would say, "Don't chew on me, baby.
Well, I mean,
don't chew on me. Ow!" See, he's saying "ow" because biting you and it hurts.
Wow. Mine was The Doors, the intro. I done a little about an hour ago in a Hollywood bungalow. What's the fucking first sentence that he said?
Oh yeah, no, that came out real. I mean, he may have been drunk and high when he made it, though.
Well,
to be fair,
but you know.
Oh my God, there was a Doors song. It was, I thought they said "Cops and Cars, the chocolate sauce. Never felt a woman so alone." And I was like, what does the chocolate sauce have to do with anything? When I'm driving in the car with my brother one day, and he said,
"Hey, if you haven't tried, you haven't tried."
He said,
okay.
"Topless bars. Why would there be chocolate sauce involved?" I was like, I don't know how kinky they are.
Topless bars?
Late 60s, early 70s. Hey, it was pretty bad.
Cops and Cars, the topless bars. There could have been chocolate sauce as well.
Yeah.
Depends on the establishment.
Or what you're tripping on. Oh, well.
That's great. That's great. Misunderstanding song lyrics is probably one of my favorite things, because it's a friend who's singing and they're so confident. They love this song. They love every bit about this song, including the part they made up. It's some of the funniest shit ever. I love it. It's so great.
There's this song it's not new, but it's not old. It's like within the last 5 years. And like a girl saying, sweet loving, you're giving me such sweet love. I'm familiar. I thought when I was hearing it that she was saying, muffins, eat muffin. You're giving me sexy muffin.
Okay. Little suggestive at the end there, but, you know, overall, it's a nice song about sweet muffins.
Give me sexy muffins. Sweet muffins, yes.
It's got some lingerie on. It's trying to look sexy for you. Instead of the little cupcake holder, it's like lace.
Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to look sexy for you.
Muffin tops. Muffin topless bars.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's great stuff. That's great stuff. I can't tell. No, there's a hand over the face. Yeah. There's a hand over the face. I was checking out on Jill. No, she got that one. She's good. Oh, man. But that's one of the things I love. Now, obviously, you love wrestling. You love stand-up comedy. What would be, all right, your prime ideal, I'll say, in this dream world? What would be your ideal show to work for wrestling or company? And then, comedy-wise,
For wrestling?
what would your ideal theater be? Do you want to play the Apollo, Carnegie Hall, Radio City?
I haven't thought of it that way, but I definitely want, like, as far as comedy, I'd love to host like a late night talk show. I'd love to host even like a daytime talk show. I could see me doing that.
Oh, yeah.
That could be something that like fits my brand.
Mm-hmm.
That's for sure a thing I see me doing. With wrestling, I'm kind of a little bit more realistic about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to. I'm not saying it's not gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it still could, but like I'm 40 and I'm a brain surgery survivor, and they're like real weird about concussions.
Okay.
So I think that they'd be real weary about trying to.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see me being like a road agent or something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to experience at one point the life of touring as a wrestler at the WWE.
That would be big. I mean, it's like a kid saying, I want to be in the NFL someday. It's nice to dream, but when you're actually out there in the trenches, you don't know who's watching you. You don't know who's watching your progress on your wrestling journey, the different opportunities and stuff like that come along. It shows when you have a passion and a love for it. Same thing with your podcasting, your comedy, everything you do. You have this drive behind it. So I have those, those fantasies as well. I've always wanted like a late night talk show. But one thing I have always wanted to do is in 8th grade, I was voted most likely to become a game show host. I want a game show. I want a game show, man. Get me a game show. I will kill.
You're so practically there, dude. You are.
You know what I mean? I just need a couple
You
of
are
graphics.
so practically there, man.
We very much share that goal. I always said when I was a kid I wanted to host a game show, a late night talk show, or I wanted to be a main character in a sitcom.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to be a main character in a sitcom because then I could go on tour and do stand up and go, here's the TV credit. I'm this main character from this sitcom, like, and then really hit the clubs.
Hero time.
Clubs.
Stop it.
Well, hey,
Check it out.
like I said, your steps on your way. So just go for it. What is it? Big lights,
Keep spinning
big
the plate.
flash numbers. What do you want? Girls in sequence,
Mhm.
man. That's an easy goal, man. So I would say just keep going for it, man. Every opportunity, go for it.
100%. I mean, you miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take, right? So going out there, even, Lugnuts podcast went down in live in Gloucester City, live at the Bank Bar. And it didn't go well. I can't put it on YouTube because it would get taken right down. We weren't allowed to be louder than the music. And it was like one thing after another went wrong. We didn't go live. We didn't, I didn't hit record and all that. It was this thing. So sometimes, even in the best laid plans,
that's a hell gig, sir.
It is. Oh, man. I felt it afterwards, but I've had a bunch of hell gigs. One of our first times we went live was at a comic store in Ridley, Comic Universe, and it had just snowed. There were like 3 to 4 inches of snow on the ground, and like it was me, Chris, our buddy Kelly, who I met for the first time that show, and the owner. and the people who work there, and like the people who were picking them up because it was snowing outside, and you're like, yeah, this is not good. This is not good. So I've had those gigs before that didn't turn out well. Everything went wrong. Your stomach goes to your shoes, and you're like, oh. That is a lot like what we were talking about of the rapidity of doing things. It's like if something happens at a wrestling show and you got to call an audible. The experience makes it so that it looks like nothing even happened.
I went to bodyguard school. I am a licensed bodyguard. One of the things in bodyguard school, the methods that they taught us, they said they called it an OODA loop. They said you want to tighten your OODA loop, and the OODA stands for observe, orient, act, or decide and act. So observe, orient, decide, act. You loop those. It's got to keep on tightening the amount of time it takes you to orient and act. So keep on working on your OODA loops, yo.
That's good advice right there, because
That's different. That's different, I have to say.
Yeah, it is different, but observe, orient. I already forgot the last two. Direct? No. You can direct. You can definitely direct. Right. But now I just, put that seed in there. You could be a director in the future. It's going to happen. It's fine.
I have done AD work. I have been on sets of lots of One more thing. I've been just about the wrestling thing, like I was talking about earlier. I've been on enough like movie sets and film sets, TV show sets. Like I don't even remember. I've forgotten more about being on set than most people will ever know.
Because it's a lot of downtime.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for that scene you need to be in.
Holding.
This was like a year or something ago. I got fired from Acura. It was right around Christmas. And Chris got on as an extra in Undercover, Caught on Tape. And he was a security guard. And they were like, hey, some of the extras didn't show. You want a job? I'm like, yeah. So I went down there.
That's how you do it.
I had my, my zip-up hoodie, jeans, my work boots, and I walk in there, and he goes, oh, do you need to get him in for, costume? And she looks at me, and she goes,
Front door. Sorry.
nah, he's perfect. I go, I've been, preparing this my whole life. Everybody busts up in the room, but then you're sitting there. You're like, all right, I'm getting paid to sit in prison. This is new. Not many people could say that.
I just did a TV show. I'm not going to say what the show is because it's supposed to be on an A, not saying what it is. But I played a prisoner on a TV show, and I got they put me in a real prison.
Mm-hmm.
I was like in an inmate's jumpsuit, and there were real prisoners in the jail.
Wow.
But yes, I can also say I got paid to sit in prison.
It's a weird thing, but you're like, that's cool. You get that option.
And I also played a prisoner in Gotham.
Yeah.
A wing inmate.
Yeah, man. And then all the extra work that I've seen you in, because, Avatar, The Last Airbender, Gotham, Blacklist, all roles that are nice to have on your, they're nice to have on your sheet because it shows range. It shows, hey, he's been in a bunch of stuff. Look at this. And you have the wrestling. So that kind of goes hand in hand with the stunt work. Is that something you want to kind of move away from, as stunt work?
No, not at all. It's something I for sure would pursue it.
Mm-hmm.
Just the options. I think.
Yeah.
I'm pretty open. Just I haven't come across too much stunt work.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that does make sense, especially because I I see on I like to watch the behind the scenes on shows, and infamous one I like to watch now is House of Dragon, because they're finally making it interesting. And the behind the scenes, a lot of them, they're just like, yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That guy got lit on fire. You go, stunt guy. But you also have hey, we want you to do jump over this and then fall down on this rubber-looking rock and act like there's a dragon in your face. And you're like, oh, okay. And it's that kind of, well, you're falling on rubber.
I could do that.
Like, yeah, I'll do it myself. I don't need, you got a stunt guy for that? No, I got it.
You need a rubber rock for that?
You know, no, I got it, guys. That's fine. Put me in a bodysuit. Come on, let's go. But you also have to
rubber, rock, paper, and scissors.
Because that's the one thing that I do see with acting, particularly with Doctor Who, is Matt Smith. When Peter Capaldi, went to meet Matt Smith before he became the Doctor, and Matt Smith was on crutches. And he goes, what happened to you? He said, this bloody show, mate. All the twisting and turning around dramatically and running messed up his knee. Because of all that torque. There's stuff like that, oh, you're an actor. All that, especially on a TV series, to where you got to do multiple shots, get the right angles. You got to do that run again. There's a lot to that acting.
Dude, on set, I have to say this might be an inside thing, but you want to hear them go, cut, checking the gates. If they say checking the gates, you're like, finally, I don't have to do the same thing 100 times. Once they say checking the gates, you're like, got us.
Nailed
all right.
it. That's great. Because there's that little terminology that, people don't know. Oh, checking the gates. Okay. Now I know when I'm doing a good job. Awesome. It's fine. We got it. Oh, good. Checking the gates is a lot more eloquent way of saying that. No, good job. That one works too, if you want to use that one. I don't own it.
You don't own good job?
Yeah, good old compliment. You could put them out there. Hey, that works. Even that works. Check the gate. A little vague. But now they know. And knowing's half the battle. Go, Joe. So I think we've covered a vast just network of things we have. Even I have not known about you. Jillian's not surprised because, she's better than me. But there's a lot of stuff that I think you're going to be doing in the future, and especially all the different ideas that we've talked about in the past that I think you're 100% going to be coming through with, and people will get very excited for. I know they're going to be able to check you out at the AAW show in September on the 14th, which is your second show back with them.
Gotta be taking on the Red Dog. We met in a tag match last time I was there. This is gonna be just
Well, the tag match was.
I prefer one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. If I'm ever booked on a show and it's not just a singles one-on-one match, I don't like it at all.
Right.
If I show up at a show and they're like, oh, we put you in a tag match with this person who's not your tag team partner against this team that's not a team, I automatically start I start to try him. I feel like it's a waste. Of everybody's time. The crowd's too confused.
Mm-hmm.
These crowds that come out to indie wrestling don't know the backstories why these people would be deep.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm ever put in a triple threat, a 6-way, a 5-way, 4-way, 10-person tag, all of that, you're wasting me. All this, you've got this talent that you can make your crowd feel a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Make your crowd understand what this sport that they came to watch is. You're wasting.
They are wasting.
That's what I feel about.
And it's also not a waste because you are still getting your name out there. It's not the level of performance that you are necessarily happy with, but that's also not a bad thing. It's a good thing that you keep moving forward and not really.
It's not a full waste, but it's a waste of the potential that could be.
There is a lot of wasted potential energy in that. I mean, there's no two ways about that. Sorry, seeing a little producer note here.
I started my career and I spent a good amount of my career right in the beginning, the middle, all of it up until now in tag teams. I was in tag teams forever. Like, I don't need to be in a tag team with somebody who I don't know, who I may be just meeting that day. Like, all my tag team partners have moved on and aren't in the business anymore. I'm the only one out of all of my friends who still wrestles. Like,
Really? Okay. Wow.
I don't have any friends in the wrestling business. Like, they're all kids.
Yeah.
Everybody in the wrestling business is kids now.
There is a lot of that. But that's also where you could be more selective with the wrestling gigs you do take, and you'll have more time for the other opportunities that matter to you and things that you're seeing a lot more of a return on. So not necessarily a bad thing, because, guys evolve out of that wrestling, especially in recent history. There's been a bunch of wrestlers that they started out wrestling. Now they're in movies. They have no worries. They got many TV deals. So it does happen. And it's okay to move outside of that, because wrestling is very hard on your body. You have to stay in shape. And it's okay to be like, you know what? I don't want to fall off the top rope today. I'm done. I don't want to do that. It's fine to have that thought as well.
Well, you can decide what you don't do, and especially if you're the vet and you're the one who's got the final say. Mm-hmm. If you're the one who's really controlling the pace of the match, you wouldn't really. If somebody goes, "Oh, let's do like a superplex off the top rope," I could be like, "No, I'm not doing that," and we wouldn't do it.
Now, that's also, I do see, speaking to your point on a lot of young guns out there, when I go to these matches, I see them jumping through the ropes, going like SPO when we were there last weekend. It was a crazy match. It was a high flying, a lot of action, a lot of stuff going on, and there were a lot of young guys that were doing that action. The older guys, they're not jumping through the ropes.
Oh, that's shortening your career.
Yeah,
like, it's taking unnecessary risks. Doing dives is pointless. Everybody's been to a concert. They know that crowd surfing doesn't hurt. Like, so when you jump off a ring onto somebody, you catch them. Like, it's like it just looks phony. It looks like all this stuff is fake, and we're putting on a show for you guys. Like, I'm not a fan of dives.
I can get that.
Not to say I've never done dives. I did a lot of dives when I was younger, because I thought that's what would work, because it would pop crowds.
Yeah.
But more and more I'm thinking about it, I'm like, people see more devastating stuff just scrolling through YouTube shorts and just seeing somebody fall on grass or something. That's more devastating than watching somebody do a flying dive off the top rope.
Yeah, because there's also the element of people can get hurt. There are people in the crowd.
And the ground hurts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure.
I mean, I see these guys get whacked into the, outside the ring, boom, right into the metal, and I'm like, look, I know you didn't hit your head. You're making it look like you hit your head, but that still hurt your shoulder. You're still gonna have a bruise. Like, you went into there full force, dude. I get it. You're going here, but you're really like, oh my God, my shoulder. Why did I do that? Yeah. You're gonna have a fused neck. When
you gotta pay the price for everything you do. Mm-hmm. Everything comes back.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, wintertime. You see me in the wintertime, and you see, why is Matt crip walking? It's not a crip walk. It's my knees. There's a lack of cartilage there, son. So you're right. There is always a cost at some point. the piper is going to want to be paid.
Yeah.
But so the next event people are going to be able to see you at, is that AAW, or do you have another event before that?
August 10th, I'll be in York, PA.
Son of a bitch, I'm going to be there too, selling my books. So you can
Valor
see me
Pro
and Cory
Wrestling.
out there at Valor.
Yes.
Awesome. I
Yes.
forgot about that. My agent is shaking her head that out. So you can find Cory and myself at Valor Wrestling in York on August 10th, as well as the AAW September 14th. You can see Frank Percy and myself. What was the name of the Comic-Con that you just told me about, Frank?
Wow. Yeah, I have to get. Yeah,
I have it in my calendar, so I go there. I know I have a date, a Comic-Con appearance there, as well
Wilmington,
as
in Wilmington, Minicon,
yes.
August 3rd.
Yes, August 3rd,
3rd.
Minicon. Also,
Yeah,
Ocean City Comic-Con. You can see Frank Percy.
that's December.
Year
Yeah,
in December.
in
So,
December.
December
Yeah.
14th and 15th. You'll see me there on the 15th for their epic second day to what was traditionally a one-day con. So
Yeah,
there's gonna be a lot
2
of
day.
guests. A lot of guests. We just had him on before you, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of events. Especially, I see wrestlers taking advantage of the Comic-Con community and going to the events because the fans are still going to follow. Your fans are still going to follow you to these events, and they want to see their favorite wrestlers. They want to see these, great leagues. So there's a lot of different places that wrestlers and comic artists and podcasters can all go to have the fans come out and visit and say hi, as well as buy my book. Anything else you want to shamelessly plug, Cory, besides Evolving with Cory Kastle? Dan Law episode is out now. Right now. Watch it after this one.
So today, episode 36 dropped on YouTube. But like, as far this is a really cool thing. So if you're interested in anything you've heard me say, if this has brought you any value, subscribe on YouTube. And if you subscribe on YouTube, you'll actually be probably weeks ahead of what comes out on Spotify and what comes out on Apple Podcasts, because the podcast is scheduled. But also the bonus to subscribing to the podcast is every Monday I post a new episode. Every Thursday I post an old episode.
Awesome.
So I've got stuff scheduled to come out for the next couple weeks. So anywhere you download podcast, you go to Evolving with Cory Kastle. That with is the W/ and not the full word with.
Mm-hmm. That's important.
You have a hard time with that, just put in Cory Kastle.
Yeah, you'll find it.
If you spell it
He's
wrong,
everywhere.
it'll probably spell it right.
Well, yeah, it's with a K, not a C for anybody listening. But I absolutely think they're going to love your podcast because you're just a big ball of positivity and you know how to accurately talk to your guests and make them feel better, as well as your audience for watching and listening to your podcast. So much continued success, my friend. Thank you so much for doing it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Much.
And I always like to end off this podcast the same way, Walljangers, because we love you. We miss you. We want to see you next time. Until then, game on, boys and girls. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Get out of town. Apparently, he was F-wing inmate in Gotham. That TV series. Cory. I just looked up his IMDb. He was an uncredited rocker in the TV series Vinyl, Evolving with Cory Kastle. Wade on Sickness, The Listing, Jacques Verdi, Deuces, or The Deuce, Porn Distributor. That is oddly. It kind of fits. I don't know. Let's see here. The Post, a war veteran. The Butyl 8. Dark Military. Oh, shit, he was on Blacklist? How did I not know my friend was on all these amazing, amazing programs? No shit. Did you know he was on Blacklist? All right, I'm just a horrible friend then. Jesus. Bruce. He was actually Bruce in Bruce, so that's good. That's good. Imagine it's about a guy named Bruce. Bruised. Cult member. Once again, a little bit too on the money there. He has that look. Let's see. Servant. That was the cult member. He was a churchgoer and mayor of Easttown. 2014. The Half-Life Horror from Hell, or Irradiated Satan Rocks the World. How is that for a title? Oh my God, that's great. He was a stuntman on that. Yeah, I'll be your stuntman, sure. I love IMDb because they also give you trivia. So the trivia on him was perfect timing. He was born on his mother's birthday in the same hospital, delivered by the same doctor 24 years later. That is wild, sir.
Friends.